over to the U.S., the city of Chicago is putting to rest one of its darkest moments, police torture. Mayor Rahm Emmanuel announced this week it's proposing a $5.5 million reparation for those who were subject to torture by the Chicago PD between 1972 and 1991. The officers used harsh techniques to elicit confessions from mostly African-American suspects. The treatment by officers came under former police commander John Berg, who was fired by Chicago police back in 1993. He was recently released from prison after serving less than 4 years. More than 100 people are eligible for this compensation, which includes money, job training, and counseling. I'm now joined by Flint Taylor, who's one of the lawyers for the victims of the torture cases and has been involved in the efforts to bring reparations to many of those survivors. Mr. Taylor, thanks so much for being with us today. You've long pushed for these reparations, and some are questioning whether the $5.5 million is going to be enough, because there may be more people who might be coming out of the woodwork now. Do you think there might be more people out there, and is this dollar amount actually enough?
Well, the entire package is much more than $5.5 million. There's a lot of non-financial benefits that will go along with the reparations, which are truly historic, including free education at the community colleges or the city colleges here in the city of Chicago, psychological and other services for the men. The city's going to pay for that as well. There's going to be a memorial for the torture survivors here in the city of Chicago. There's going to be a complete official apology and job training and other important aspects to this that are non-compensatory in the financial sense. As well, the $5.5 million is hopefully enough to cover and to offer each person around $100,000, which we know is not enough to compensate for torture, but on the other hand, no amount is, and this will certainly help a lot of the people, a lot of the men who are on the streets here in the city of Chicago who have received nothing, whereas John Burge continues to receive his pension, even though he is a convicted felon for torturing people.
Now, can you please describe for us, I mean, we're hearing that the torture was characterized as horrendous, but can you describe for us what actually went on that they're considering torture?
Yes, it's certainly torture under the UN's definition or any human rights definition. It started with electric shock using a handmade generator type of device that was used also in Vietnam by U.S. forces to impart electric shocks on people that they were interrogating, that day being the police under John Burge's command, and often John Burge himself. We're talking about a technique called dry submarino. That's placing a plastic bag or another kind of bag over a person's head, cutting off his air supply, punching him in the chest, causing him to lose breath, making him think he is going to suffocate, attacking the people's genitals, and also mock executions, playing Russian roulette with them, placing guns in their mouths, pulling the trigger, all kinds of techniques that you would associate with other countries in other times, South Africa, of course, places in Latin America in the day, that kind of thing. But it hasn't been associated until we've heard about this systemic and documented this systemic police torture here in this country, that it is endemic in this country as well.
You know, hearing this description come out of you and you representing the people that actually went through this horrendous act, it's just amazing to hear. It sounds like something out of a mobster movie. Now, like you said, the systematic torture, it went on for almost 2 decades. How did the city arrive at such a figure for the reparations? Because how do you actually quantify mental, physical, and emotional harm inflicted on human beings?
You don't and you can't. And you have to understand that the men who are being compensated now, the men whose families are being offered these services, these holistic services, they're men that had no legal remedy. Unlike some of the people who were exonerated for their crimes and found innocent and who have gotten large multi-million-dollar settlements for the time they spent in the penitentiary, these men do not have any legal recourse. So this is something that they are being afforded because it's right, because the community and the Chicago Torture Justice Memorial Project and other community organizations, both young and old folks fighting for this kind of reparations, made possible. The city didn't do this out of its own largesse, but rather because of the struggle that went on for many years, in fact, for many decades, to bring justice to the survivors of police torture and to show the world exactly what has gone on in the name of the Chicago police, in the name of the prior Chicago mayor, Richard Daley, and in the name of the prosecutors who took these confessions based on police torture.
And now, real quickly here, the city spent nearly $20 million in legal fees defending Burge and several of his detectives who participated in these crimes. Does this speak to a greater problem, then, within the system?
There is certainly a greater problem within the system other than just the torture, and I put quotes around just, of course. We've had a history here in this city and, of course, across the country of police violence, that the assassination of Black Panther leaders here in this city, the systemic torture, the shooting down of unarmed black men and brutalizing black and other people of color, women and men. And this, of course, as we know, is something that is not unique to Chicago, but it is unfortunately something that is being now exposed across the country by videos and by other means. But it's something that has gone on, and it is endemic of the kind of racist police violence that is systematic or systemic within the various police departments of the city of Chicago and this country. And it also brings forth an even larger problem about mass incarceration and the criminal justice or injustice system in this country.
It certainly does. Thank you so much for that. We got to leave that right there. That was Flint Taylor, attorney for several of the victims of the Chicago PD torture case. Thanks for being with us today.
You're welcome.
We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.